Felipe, you're doing some co-ops and trying to figure out how to get people to come together and practice collective economics or cooperative economics. Do you want to share some of the work you're doing in the DC metro area?
We started a cooperative for facility management for churches. We have 80 congregations in Washington, D.C., collaborating on about 20 million in contracts. And they've shifted about 10 million to, Black and Latino-owned businesses over the past 4 years. This is electricity contracts, trash hauling, janitorial, security, solar panels on 40 projects, rooftop. And the collaboration, we're all making smarter decisions informed by the best and worst vendors that each of us come across in the market. And I think that's the collective power we're realizing, is just that if you share your bad experience with that vendor and I share my good experience with this one, we can come together to make more thoughtful decisions and then actually build the collective power in the market to have more leverage to shift the structural factors in the market, institutions, and how the regulations get played. So that's kind of our aspirations. How do we build market power by realizing that piece? One of the biggest parts about it is the heavy lifting of the mindset shift around the values. And I think, how do we incorporate the values into all of our economic decision making? Because our capitalists is so ingrained in our church even, and I think the extractive, exploitative mindsets of our business are the CFOs and treasurers and of our upper congregations, right? And so realizing the work that our justice committees, our mission committees have to do just inside the church to get the people with the purse strings to actually change those decisions. That's the hard work we've been engaged in, using relational organizing, coming out of organizing movements. We've had tangible successes by getting to the transaction and then making their job easier by joining a vehicle to make the decision. I've been able to leverage Pope Francis's, I think, popularity in some ways in a broader way, and the Catholic social tradition that has wrestled with economics and theology and trying to distill it into principles like the common good and subsidiarity, which is about decision making at the lowest level and option for the poor, and even the universal destination of goods, that all of our things should be towards the common good. And then what does solidarity really mean? It really means like centering those most on the margins, those most excluded in the middle. And so if we actually distill those principles for investment as an investment framework, we found a group of CFOs of Catholic women religious who have come together and said, we want to use our capital differently. So $2.5 million was committed this Friday to use employee ownership conversions as a strategy. So that's one example. I think in general, we see cooperatives, steward ownership, all these trust models. We're seeing an opportunity. I think as investors, we all need to realize the problem of capital supremacy and how that logic is we have to invest where the capital is in subordinate or reciprocal relationship to the other stakeholder, whether that's future generations or that's, the workers of a firm or the users of a community. In any case, we can structure our businesses differently. And so think about these alternative ownership structures and governance and having communities in the design process and governance and ownership. That's the vital part. That's how we do non-extractive finance. That's how we apply our theological and economic principles into action, is we design these non-extractive mechanisms for where we deploy capital.